Hey besties and welcome back to my trash channel Clown Face. Sorry for not uploading yesterday besties. I was really busy and I don't think I will be able to post on Tuesdays because I just don't have the time. Disappointed face. Sorry besties. Kissing face with open eyes. Face with hand over mouth and rosy cheeks. Enegaze on with the video. Distraught face. Upward turned hand gesturing with fingers pinched together. Stuck with you. Part 13. Sakusa stood up before throwing himself onto his bed, trying to conceal the waterfall flowing out of his eyes. Why did it hurt so bad? It hurt bad but not as bad as he had thought it would be. It was like he knew that his sister's death was nearing but he was trying to tell himself that it was all fake, a dream. Other than the sobs coming from Sakusa, that he couldn't hear himself. The room was deafeningly silent. He felt so alone, the soundless dark room making him feel isolated as his heart shattered into a million pieces. He started to reach his hands up to his face, in an attempt to wipe away the prolonged pain falling like crystals from his eyes. His swollen eyes didn't do as he wanted though, continuing to let the weakness trail down his cheeks. He felt defenseless. Other than his messed up face, he looked completely calm, despite his mind overflowing with painful thoughts. He questioned the reason they kept her in a coma for such a long time, just for her to die. What was the point in postponing her death? And if she did wake up, then would she even be happy? She'd wake up in a 15-year-old body with the mind for a 5-year-old. She would have such a hard time coming back to her reality. How could you tell someone that they've been in a coma for 10 years? The river of tears on his cheeks didn't give out, seeming like they were simply there to cause him pain. Though he was in pain, he silently thanked his mind for letting him already be somewhat used to the idea that she was going to die and knew that he wouldn't be feeling like this forever. The silence started to bother him, more and more. He needed to hear a voice. He needed to know he wasn't alone. He needed to know that everything would be alright because his own mind wasn't letting him know that. His frantically shaking legs started to edge him off his bed to grab his phone off his desk before falling back down onto his bed. He slowly started to unlock his phone, the light from his phone being a shock to him. The first thing he saw when he unlocked his phone sent him back into sobs. He had already read it multiple times, but couldn't manage to take his eyes off the message. Your younger sister has died. His jaw clenched tightly as he closed his messages with his father, knowing that he wouldn't be any help to him, and opened someone else's messages. Omi face with medical mask. Volleyball. And some smiling face with tear. B. Is private messages. Atsumu. Sakusa's fingers trembled as he typed out his message. He knew that Atsumu would comfort him, but he also didn't want to be a pain to him, or bother him. He wanted Atsumu to also get benefit out of their friendship, not just Sakusa asking for his help when he was sad. He didn't want to be a burden to Atsumu. He felt like all that Atsumu had done since they met was comfort him. His thoughts were cut short though. Omi, you okay? What did your dad say? Sakusa debated what to say. He didn't want to drag Atsumu into his problems but also needed reassurance. I don't want to waste your time. Sakusa bit his lip in anticipation as the typing dots started to form at the bottom of his screen. Don't worry Omi. I'm always here for you. Atsumu, I don't want you to feel like you have to comfort me. Comfort? Now I really need to know what happened Omi. What happened? What did he say? Omi. I wanna comfort you, so don't feel like a burden because you're not. If I didn't care for you then I wouldn't comfort you, so tell me what's wrong. Sakusa's eyes were still not stopping the rainfall coming from his eyes, but he felt a little safer. Felt like someone was somewhat there for him. Can we call? Not on FaceTime. I just need to hear your voice. I'm scared Atsumu. It's so quiet. I think that my ears are going to bust. I'm coming. Call from some smiling face with tear. B. Omi face with medical mask. Volleyball. Has joined the call. Omi. Atsumu's voice was in a quiet shout but also soft, and Sakusa's mind started to stop panicking as much, due to the sound of the familiar voice. Don't worry. You don't need to talk if you don't feel like it. Smiling face. Sakusa could feel that Atsumu was smiling through the screen. Atsumu could hear quiet sobs from the other end of the call, but decided that Sakusa would tell him when he was ready. Don't worry Omi. You're not alone. I'm here with you now. Unfortunately for you, Omi, you're stuck with me for the next few hours. Sakusa sniffed, coving his mouth and trying to prevent wails from coming out his mouth, though felt comfort from Atsumu's joking tone. How dumb is this? We're gonna arrive home at like 2 to 3 a.m. Kinda glad though, because that meant that I could have more time to spend with you, Omi-kun. Sakusa removed his hand from his mouth when he felt that he wasn't going to wail, glad that Atsumu actually enjoyed his company. I miss ya. You know, Omi, so don't be surprised if I show up at your front door sometime this week at 3 a.m. Sakusa was glad that Atsumu wasn't talking about what had happened. Wait. Samu and Suna are making out. Sakusa's tears stopped falling as he was slightly amused by the older boy. He could hear a muffled shout come from his phone that sounded something along the lines of "Shut up, moron." "No, we're not." Sakusa then heard Atsumu shout again. "Sure, whatever." He could hear Atsumu giggle before talking to him. "Those two are disgusting. They can't seem to keep their hands off each other." Sakusa was slightly amused by the blonde's actions. Imagine waking up to see Komori making out with someone on your sofa every morning. Disgusting. Nauseated face. Sakusa's eyes were dry of tears, but his eyes were still sore. It seemed like his mind had been completely taken away from his sister and focused on Atsumu's voice. "Omi, are your lights on?" Atsumu's voice was a lot softer than before. Yes, they were off. If they are, you should turn them on. So you know that your room isn't completely empty." Atsumu could hear the sound of bed sheets ruffling from his phone, and assumed it was Sakusa moving to turn the light off. Sakusa followed what Atsumu told him to do and stood up to turn the light off. Soon enough, Atsumu heard a click from his phone and smiled. Sakusa then jumped back onto his bed and listened out to whatever Atsumu would say next. "You know, Omi, you make me really happy." Sakusa stayed silent but listened. "Like when you smile, it makes me really happy. Because I'm glad that you feel happy with me. And the way I know you'd comfort me if I ever felt upset. Because you're actually a softie, Omi. Even though you probably won't admit it. I guess you could say that I want to be there for you. Because the happier you are, the happier I am." Beaming face with smiling eyes. "Because I enjoy being around you, and I would do anything just to see that smile of yours every day. Omi, I really do care for you. So you're not alone. I'm here whenever you need me." Face with hand over mouth and rosy cheeks. Atsumu could hear a sniffle from his phone as a mountain of tears fell down Sakusa's face again. Atsu. Atsumu's heart sunk when he heard Sakusa's voice. "Omi, see, can we? I wanna see your face. But I look like a mess." Atsumu smiled fondly at his phone, a light blush making its way onto his face. "How about we FaceTime then? You don't have to put your camera on if you don't want to." "Oh, okay, I'm sure you look as good as ever though." "I doubt that." Atsumu laughed. "Lem FaceTime you." Some smiling face with tear. B. Has started a FaceTime. Omi face with medical mask. Volleyball. Has joined the call. Sakusa quickly turned off his camera before Atsumu could see him, when suddenly Atsumu's face popped up on his screen. "Omi." Sakusa smiled at the boy on his phone, his eyes still teary. "Hey Atsu. I must be handsome if the one and only Omi wanted to see my face." Sakusa smiled slightly, his eyes glossy as he stares deeply at the boy. "I guess." Sakusa watched as Atsumu started to prop his phone up in an angle that would make it easier for Sakusa to see him. Sakusa stared as the boy's cheeks started to turn pink, not expecting Sakusa to agree. "Omi, you can't just do that, Omi." Sakusa chuckled while Atsumu smiled, placing a hand on his face to hide his blush. "Stop hiding your face, confounded face. I wanna see it." Atsumu stared into the camera, removing the hand from his face. He was clearly still blushing. Sakusa picked up his phone, quickly taking a screenshot. "Omi, I'm gonna get car sick, worried face." Atsumu pouted and Sakusa took another screenshot him in the back of the coach and it's bouncing up and down. "Did you take any motion sickness tablets or what?" Atsumu looked back into the camera, his cheeks puffed out. Click. Another screenshot. "No, I usually don't get car sick, so I don't need them. But I didn't expect to be sat at the back." "Well, I did, but ugh, whatever." Sakusa smiled fondly at the camera, still rubbing his sore eyes. Have you eaten yet, Omi? I haven't and I'm starving, disappointed face. Did you forget you ate my food? Atsumu place a finger on his chin. SHSHS, look, I'm hungry now. Sad Atsumu noises. I'm gonna go beg Samu for some food, smiling face with sunglasses. He's bound to have some for his wonderful, hot, amazing, lovely and cool brother. Sakusa laughed at how Atsumu described himself, but didn't deny any of it. Alright. Come back though. Atsumu smiled cheerily at the camera. Of course. I'll be right back. Atsumu started to unbuckle his seatbelt and stand up, making his way over to Osamu. Sakusa smiled again, exiting the FaceTime, but staying in the call and going to his images and clicking on his most recent image. His cheeks went pink as he scrolled through each one, giving close attention to each one. Sakusa was mumbling about how cute he was and how he just wanted to pinch his cheeks and run his fingers through his hair. His eyes sparkle at the images. Back Omi. Sakusa heard Atsumu's voice and returned to the FaceTime. He saw Atsumu sat down with a lunch box on his lap, with a nigiri on it. I managed to get food off of him. Oh my god. This is ASMR with Atsumu. No. Atsumu chuckled, picking up one of the onigiri. Imaitsu. You can stay or you can leave. Cause I'm eating. And I don't disgust you. Atsumu could hear a laugh from the other end of the call. I'll stay. Atsumu smiled before he started eating. Sakusa started to take many screenshots while Atsumu talked a lot while eating. You know. You're kinda cute. Atsumu's cheeks went bright red at the comment but decided to play it off. Sakusa took another screenshot of Atsumu blushing profusely. Of course I'm cute. When am I not? Atsumu tried to play it off but it didn't really work out. He ended up looking like a blushing mess and an idiot. Yay. Whatever. Atsumu pouted and Sakusa started to stop laying down and shuffled off of his bed and started to walk over to his desk, setting down his phone. He quickly checked himself in the mirror to check if he looked too much like a mess. He decided that he looked decent and slowly turned the camera on. Atsumu opened his eyes widely. Omi. Sakusa smiled at the boy. Hey Achu. I'm glad you put your camera on. I missed your dumb face. Dumb. Atsumu laughed and Sakusa smiled again. Yes. Dumb. His face said otherwise though, as he was smiling widely with stars in his eyes. Thanks Achu. You're welcome. Atsumu placed his hands on his hips proudly. Sakusa simply rolled his eyes at the boy, his smile not falling. Eventually, they didn't know when though, Sakusa had gone back to his bed and fallen asleep and Atsumu had his head laid on the side of the coach, wrapped in a blanket he had brought, also asleep. The coach had just stopped and Osamu realized that Atsumu wasn't moving from his place at the back of the coach. He assumed he was asleep and decided to go wake him up. He walked to the back of the coach, only to see his brother sleeping soundly with his phone propped up facing him. He noticed he was on a FaceTime and the person on the other side was also asleep. He was sleeping so peacefully and Osamu didn't want to wake him up, so he decided to pick up his backpack, placing Atsumu's phone in his pocket and slowly unbuckling Atsumu's seat belt. He then carefully started to pick Atsumu up, bridal style as that was most convenient. He smiled seeing his brother asleep with a small smile on his face and started to walk off the coach with him in his arms. We stand wholesome twins. Osamu had finally arrived home. He slowly started to walk up the stairs and into Atsumu's room, carefully plopping Atsumu down onto his bed and dumping his backpack on the floor. He grabbed Atsumu's phone out of his pocket and propped it up to Atsumu's face again. The person on the other end was still asleep. Osamu smiled one last time before walking out of Atsumu's room into his own. End of part 13. Hey besties. Hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry that I won't be able to post on Tuesdays. I need time for schoolwork and I'm also very busy Mondays and Tuesdays, but I'll still try to get a video out on Monday because I don't want to let you guys down red heart. Anyways, see you in the next one besties.